Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Bruno. I'm here this week with Pedro and Scott. What's good, guys?
What's up, guys?
Well, hello.
Hello. Scott, you're back. Dry.
I was actually never really wet. I was still dry. I had an umbrella, thankfully. I was prepared.
The Great Flood of New Jersey, 2025.
Well, as Governor Christie once said, we're stronger than the storm. And it wound up being true. We were stronger than the storm. I was at a CVS parking lot. Thankfully, it was a 24/7 store. So no matter how long I was to be there, I had bandages. I had overpriced water.
Did they increase the prices while you were in there?
No, they were not price gouging, but no one actually ran in to buy any. Actually, there were people that ran in to buy things, even though, go figure, there's always someone who's going to run in to buy something like diapers when there's a storm. It's like, why all of a sudden you need diapers? You didn't know 15
Pedro,
minutes,
tell him.
2 hours before?
Tell him why you might all of a sudden need diapers.
You didn't know 2 hours before this forecasted storm, you needed diapers? But anyway.
So you got out all right.
I did, thankfully. After an hour and a half of hanging out in the parking lot, watching the water in the parking lot come closer and go farther away, I was able to find my way out of the parking lot, and a week later, here I am.
Well, we're glad you're back. Pedro, you're on mute, homie.
You got to love those 24/7 CVSs, man. Those things are crazy.
That was it. Did you pull in as like a rescue pit stop, or were you in there and then you realized you couldn't leave?
Oh, no. Not only did I pull in, I pulled up somewhat on the sidewalk a little bit to just go, where am I supposed to go? Then drove back onto the street and dodged right for the CVS parking lot through the water, and then just hung out there for a while just to get my bearings straight of where to go, because Google Maps came to the rescue to be able to figure out which route I should take to make sure I didn't go through to any other.
Does Google Maps have flood advisory?
It does.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. I never seen that.
No joke. I was making sure, because I didn't really know where I would, what further streets were also going to be impacted. So it definitely helped. I logged on and looked to see where I was, and it definitely helped.
And the worst thing you could do if you ever find yourself in a flooding situation is try to drive through what you think is a puddle. Just safety advisory for everyone that doesn't know. No matter how shallow or whatever you think it is, do not attempt to drive through it, because there's a high probability you'll get stuck and your whole day will be ruined.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Pedro, because the 100+ cars were not following that. They all were just driving through.
Yeah, there's always going to be a guy that attempts it, and then everyone else is like, "Oh, I could try it.
Everyone was. They even a tow truck, I watched it, had to pull a car out of the water into the parking lot. There were even police cars that were blocking off the street to with their sirens on, saying, "Look, don't go here." But people didn't care. They were driving through. They wanted to get home through that storm, and it rained for at least 3 hours. But
hard rain.
The next day, you can't even tell what happened. All the water just dissipated and dried out.
Yeah. My sister, who lives in New Jersey, she was on vacation for the week, and when they got back home, they found their basement was flooded.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, word! Oh, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare.
And they didn't even notice when they got home. Like, they got home and they were just, hanging out at home. But then somebody had to go to the basement, and that's when they noticed.
Wow. Yeah.
This is crazy. There's flooding all over the country last week. I don't know what the hell's going on. This is the year of the floods.
Yeah, year of the floods. This is not a weather podcast. This is a TV movie podcast.
What? I thought
Breaking.
Hold on. I thought we were changing the format.
The format.
This is not about weather?
No.
All right.
We have a bit of a mixed show today. I don't know if we're going to spend a lot of time on a main topic, but there's so much stuff that we just want to cover, including CBS canceling Colbert. There's a major Marvel Cinematic Universe update that I think was just announced today. And we're going to talk about some documentaries that we watched on Netflix and
which
mentioned the Emmy nominations.
I don't know if everyone else is like this, but I didn't know what MCU stood for until like just before we started recording, because Bruno said MCU as if everyone knows what that stands for. And I'm like, Marvel Comic Universe.
Wait, you thought it was a college or you thought it was like a university?
Comic. I thought it was MCU. First, I didn't know what it stands for because it just said, I'm like, Marvel, C for comic. And then I was corrected. It's not comic. It's cinematic.
Cinematic.
And U for universe. So I'm now all caught up with the lingo until the next saying is said. And I go, what is it?
Yeah, it's actually some interesting news. Before we jump in, Pedro, you said you had some drama coming on. You were a few minutes.
No drama. Just
Okay.
I was just apologizing for delaying the start of the recording. I had to deal with some ants creeping into my porch. So I had to
Creeping?
I had
in
to
the middle
follow
of the day?
I had to follow the ant trail and found a couple of ant mounds in our backyard. So just one of the random things that happens when you live in Florida. It's like
Creepy
animals take over.
crawlers.
Oh, that happens here too. What did you do once you found where they live at?
I have like a solution that we got at like Home Depot. It's just like you pour it over ant mounds. It's like a powder, stinky powder, and it takes like a day or two. It takes a couple days, and it's like bait for them. It destroys their colony but the ones that made it into the porch, I'm probably gonna call our pest control.
Can't just step
company.
on them?
Nah, there's like a line of them. I think they might have found like some food crumbs or something and are making their way in a colony line like between the mound and our porch. So
Taking over.
ants.
Ants are a problem.
Maybe I'll watch the movie Ants to celebrate the animated movie.
Yeah, ants are a problem. Ants are a problem. Scott, where do you want to start, man? There's
Hit us with the MCU news. I don't know. I don't know what this is about.
Okay. So Kevin Feige, who's pretty much the executive that leads the MCU, he put out a statement basically confirming the news that the MCU is kind of going to wrap up in a way, and it's going to reboot with the X-Men universe launch. So I'll read it a little bit here. Kevin Feige confirmed the news. Following Secret Wars, which is the next Avengers movie in 2017, Marvel Studios will launch its mutant saga with the all-new cast of X-Men, directed by Jake Schreier, who directed Thunderbolts. So expect a full X-Men saga to relaunch after this next Avengers movie. I don't know what they're going to do with all these Avengers characters. I feel like they've pretty much exhausted all of them. And people aren't as interested in these new characters. So creating like the X-Men cinematic universe inside the MCU would be sick, I think. That'll get me interested in comic book movies again.
So there's more Avengers movies coming out?
That's your takeaway from everything I just said? Yeah, there's one more.
Based on the original Avengers that we've
There's
all seen?
well, it's Avengers Doomsday. That's where, well, I guess they fight Doomsday. Not Doomsday, I'm sorry. They fight Doctor Doom, and Robert Downey Jr. is cast as Doctor Doom. Don't you remember that headline from last summer? I think it was.
I thought we were done with the Avengers movies, and if they're going to reboot this, like why?
Well, what they're gonna do?
Why draw this out any longer? You know,
I think it's because they need some kind of like timeline glitch where they go back in time, or some timeline, hijinks happens, and now we're focused on the X-Men, and it will also allow them to recast all of the important Avengers like Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. They just need to, create some multiverse, new timeline kind of thing, just to re-up basically. But I'm excited for the X-Men. Aren't you hyped for X-Men, bro?
Yeah, I love X-Men. I just wish they would. My dream X-Men movie would be like a very dark Knight-ish type vibe film.
Yeah.
Because You know,
I don't think they're doing
I don't
that.
want any glitz and glamour or anything. But
Yeah, we'll see what they do.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
That's not gonna happen.
Do you guys think that if they fail with this, it's done for Disney and the Marvel thing? Because I feel like
Never.
feel
They're
like-
never done.
No, it's never over.
I feel like they're one failure away from like losing everybody's interest.
Have you listened to Paul talk about these movies? Like,
Paul's more of a DC guy though.
He is.
Uh,
He is. I have some friends who are rabid Marvel heads. It doesn't matter how bad the movie is; they're in the seats. They're gonna watch it. So when the movie's
They're
actually
still like as enthusiastic about it as
not really,
Endgame, as the Endgame era.
they're kind of. I think their hope is that Fantastic Four does really well, both critically and at the box office, which it probably will, and that revives things a little bit. But when you're coming off of like Thunderbolts, Captain America, whatever that last one was called, those horrible Ant-Man movies, it's just like it hasn't been good for a couple years.
It's been like not 3 strikes. It's been like 5 strikes in a row or more.
Yeah, like they're still making money, but they're not like crushing at the box office like they used to. So it's from a money standpoint, it's been a pretty big disappointment.
Yeah, I just want to see Marvel. I would like to see an X-Men movie like Logan, done like Logan.
Oh yeah,
Like the Logan movie, like real reality, gritty, like, you know, take the fantasy element out and like this is like a alternate like future where like there's mutants, but everything is like gritty and grimy.
I feel you. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think DC still has a little bit of that, in particular with the Batman universe, which is a dark kind of cinematic universe already.
And even the Batman that was, you know, the recent movie titled The Batman was pretty dark too.
Wait, what did I say?
You said Superman.
No, okay, my bad. I meant Batman. Yeah,
Yeah.
Superman is more like the Marvel movies a little bit. But yeah, I think that's exciting news. It's finally news that people have been waiting for regarding the X-Men and when that's going to take off. So I'm glad to see that it's in the pipeline, and not so much that it's going to merge with the current MCU, but sort of just be the next stage of that, carry the torch for probably the next 15 or 20 years. So that's exciting. Scott, do you want to mention anything about Colbert? I know you're the
yes, and I will. So stay with me without any interruptions, please. I know they would be coming. It was announced on Thursday evening as quite a surprise when I got the push notification on Thursday night that it was announced that the Late Show with Stephen Colbert and the entire Late Show franchise will be ending in May 2026. That the company announced that it was purely a financial decision against the challenging backdrop in late night. The timing was I'm just saying as myself, the timing was quite interesting because also a couple of weeks prior, the show that would air after the Colbert Late Show was After Midnight, which was a game show type format that was on for an hour. So and I find it interesting that this comes even after that announcement occurred, that the show apparently is losing money, but it's odd that they're announcing it now. And
you're talking about the second show, the Colbert Show.
The Colbert Show, that they're announcing the Colbert Show is being canceled after next season, which I'm sure is because Colbert has a contract and they don't want to cancel his contract so soon. They want to probably exhaust the contract to the end of it. And Colbert announced it to his audience live via tape and released that part of that evening show ahead of time, pretty much around when this press release was put out by CBS News, and then others just pounced on it as well. And it just happened, actually a few years ago, David Letterman put out a video that's about a little over 2 minutes of just David Letterman making jokes about CBS. pretty much as its response to this decision.
Yeah, this was I don't really follow late night at all anymore, but this was unexpected, just given that these shows are pretty much legacy television at this point. This
And isn't it
obviously,
the highest rated late night show? I think I read.
I read that
That's
too.
correct?
I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, that's what I read, that it's the highest rated late night show, which may be, I don't know. But obviously this is directly tied to the Paramount deal that Paramount is trying to get through, but Paramount is also being sued by Donald Trump. So there's a whole, there's a whole dark side to this thing, where it's speculated that in Trump's FTC allowing the merger or the acquisition of Paramount to go through, there's some stipulations in that deal, other than the $16 million bribe, essentially, that was part of the package that they had to pay to the Trump library.
And as far as you're saying, it's an $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media, which is required of the approval of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah. Paramount has been trying to sell itself for a while. Skydance, Sony's came up last year. Finally, Skydance came up with a real proposition. It is a good acquisition for Skydance, and generally people feel positive about the acquisition when you consider, sometimes these companies, historical companies like Paramount, get eaten up and then sold for parts. But I think they want to keep Paramount intact. But I think as part of the deal, Trump, in suing CBS, suing 60 Minutes, saw an opportunity to, flex his muscle as the president and as the head of the FTC, working directly for him. They were able to block the deal if they wanted to. So I'm sure killing off the Stephen Colbert show was part of that backdoor deal, because Colbert was constantly attacking Trump, as these guys usually do. They always sort of go after the sitting president. So yeah, it's weird. It sucks.
Do you guys see Colbert doing anything after this? Like, do you guys see another network picking him up, like a cable network or something? It's like, does he do anything outside of his show? He's not like doesn't act or anything like any of the other guys.
He juggles. Sensational.
That's it. So you might catch him juggling somewhere after this.
I believe he does other things, voluntary stuff on the side. He also probably does other things that are not really publicly announced.
But work-wise, he'll probably get a podcast. Like that's the number one thing.
Oh yeah, everyone gets a podcast.
He might do. I don't know. Yes, I'm sure networks are going to be dying to pick him up.
There has been speculation that he could, no one knows what's going to happen at this point, because he still is under contract to do The Late Show for another 10 months. But there is been rumors, or people have been speaking about, that maybe he may become another one of the hosts of The Daily Show. Like Jon
that would
Stewart,
be cool.
Like Jon Stewart does one day a week. Maybe Stephen Colbert will do one day a week. After all, that's where he was before, right? He left.
Yeah, a lot of these personalities also just go on and start their own YouTube shows and end up doing that. Like,
yeah, he'll be
on
fine.
their own, like
He'll be
interview
fine.
format on YouTube.
I think it's less about, like, shows can't get canceled, shows end. Look what happened to Conan O'Brien. He lost his show, and he has gone on to continue to have an excellent career. The thing is, like, when the FCC via the president steps in and potentially tell a network that you have to cancel this guy, or you have to get rid of this guy, you have to shut this guy up, otherwise, we're going to cancel this deal, or we're going to, just stall it until Paramount goes bankrupt, which was what ultimately was going to happen. If Paramount didn't make this deal, they would ultimately go bankrupt because they were financially in a lot of trouble. So that's kind of the shitty side of it. And we'll see what happens because the Daily Show is also a Paramount show. So
Right.
Jon Stewart may also get canceled. They may also drop that show.
And that's what
right.
and Jon Stewart,
And so is Comedy Central and MTV content too. Right?
And that's what Jon Stewart, from what I heard, that's what he also commented on, is that he doesn't even know what's going to happen with the Daily Show at this point, but there's not been any further announcements about that show.
Yeah, late night has been in decline for a long time. It's more of a lineage thing now, and I think it'll probably end with these three guys ultimately. Who knows? I do want to move on to something a little bit more positive. These are just a couple of blurbs that I just happened to see. It's the 35th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the one that came out in 1991, and they're doing a theatrical re-release August 16 through August 20. If anybody wants to check that out, I actually might go check that out. Cool. Yeah, it's cool, and I like AMC in particular has a lot of these re-releases. It's also I think every summer Studio Ghibli has like a theater showing of a lot of their movies, so that's cool. And Akira is coming back to IMAX. If anybody wants to check out the Japanese anime classic, it's probably the most iconic anime movie of all time. I think I can say that. That's coming. It's going to be on IMAX. I don't have a date.
If you said you can't say it, you just did. You said it.
What? Say what?
You said if you can say it, you did say it. You said it was the most you did say it was the most iconic movie.
Oh yeah. I think it is. And then I thought this was pretty dope. Odyssey, the new Christopher Nolan movie that's coming out next year. The IMAX ticket screenings are already sold out, and they're on resale for $500 a pop to see.
What?
To see the Odyssey in IMAX is $500 right now. You guys
Just
read about that?
To see a preview?
To see the movie in IMAX next summer.
Yeah, but to see it before the release date?
No, the regular movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the point? Why not just wait till release date and go see it?
Because it's sold out. That's what I'm telling you.
Sold out.
All the IMAX screenings are sold out. Resale
from when they opens to when it leaves theaters, it's sold out.
Apparently.
It's pre-sale. My dentist hasn't even told me what I'm doing in a year. I only have an appointment from 6 months from now. I don't know what I'm doing in a year.
The movie's still in post, but it's sold out.
What do you mean?
No, they're still shooting. It's already sold out.
Because they still got to add scenes. They still don't have an ending, but it's sold out.
It's sold out, bro.
So what? The movie's 4 hours now. The movie's 4 hours. They're trying to get it down to 3:30.
Yeah. I kind of like this, man, because it wasn't, these after COVID and the years that followed, everybody was writing cinemas off and they were basically dead in the water. And now you also just saw one of the Spider-Man movies get moved because they want those IMAX screens, and IMAX screens are limited, right? So every time a new movie comes out, they take the IMAX screens. So if you want to watch F1 in IMAX right now, you probably can't. And if you want to watch Superman in IMAX, this is probably your last week to do it because Fantastic Four is coming out.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what my nearest IMAX theater is.
It's probably an AMC.
Probably.
So yeah, I'm glad that people are back into the movie theater experience. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
And he shoots a lot of his movies specifically for IMAX and like 70 millimeter, whatever format it is. So it's an experience to watch his movies specifically at IMAX.
Exactly. Yeah. I wasn't able to see Oppenheimer in IMAX. I missed out on that. I did catch it in 70 millimeter. Which was cool too, but obviously IMAX is a whole different experience. So if anybody has Odyssey tickets, hit me up. Do you guys want to do? So here's the thing: we want to talk about Trainwreck, which is a new documentary series on. It's not a new series; it's an ongoing series on Netflix. And then I want to talk about a couple other things that we watched. Some things that I want people to stay away from, and some things that I've watched myself. Pedro, why don't you kick us off? I know you're a big. You asked us to watch this movie called The Amateur, which is on Netflix. I'm sorry, no, it's on Hulu.
Hulu. Number one. It's number one movie on Netflix.
Wait, Hulu.
I mean on Hulu. Yes.
That's the number one movie on Hulu.
Number one movie on Hulu as of this weekend and as of today, Monday. So yeah, it's a movie that released back in April in theaters, but just got its streaming release now. So I think this movie went pretty much under the radar because I don't remember it at all. I thought it was like a Hulu original when it showed up on my home screen.
It feels like a Hulu original.
Yeah,
because it's trash.
I mean, the description. You see the thumbnail, you see the ad on your home screen, and I read the description. And I thought, oh, this is interesting, and the cast of actors looks, tight.
Yeah,
looks good.
So let me just give everybody a quick rundown what this is. This is it stars Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne, essentially. John Bernthal is in this movie. I don't know. He must have just walked into set by accident. I don't know what he's doing in this movie. But it's basically like Rami Malek. He plays a CIA cryptographer. He's basically like the IT guy at the CIA. And his wife gets killed on a business trip, unaffiliated, like totally nothing to do with his day job. And he takes it upon himself to not only find the killers, but exact revenge on the killers because the CIA is sort of like doing some black ops and they are inadvertently they're not responsible for the attack, but they're not really trying to find these guys either. So he takes it upon himself to fly off to Europe, Istanbul, Russia, and take these guys on. Now, Pedro, when you said, hey, let's watch this movie, I said, oh boy, this movie's trash, but all right, I'll watch it. Scott, I'm curious to know, because you were all in. I want to know why, and I want to know if you actually watched this.
Well, I follow exactly what's on the rundown of things that we're going to do, and I didn't see it on the list, so I did not watch it. But I do know that this is because I had trouble finding it briefly because I Googled it, and it came up as The Amateur, and then I got linked to a movie from 1981, and then I realized this is actually a remake and not an original film. It's also based on the same novel. Yeah, but there's two different versions.
Okay, so short story. You didn't see it?
I said yes. I did not see it.
Okay, Pedro, you watched 20 minutes of it. What made you flee from your television?
How good were those 20 more minutes? I did not see. How good were they? Explain to us. Explain it.
So
Lay it all out.
I think I jumped the gun when I, suggested we watch this movie. I think the description, the synopsis, sounded like a really great action movie. I'm not gonna trash it completely because, of course, I only saw about the first 30 minutes of it. But from what I saw, I didn't like anything. Like the acting was just really bad. Rami Malek is just playing another hacker, which I swear, I've seen him in 3 other roles where he plays the same guy.
He's done that before, hasn't he? He's done that before.
The interaction between him and his bosses at the
agency.
The agency. It was just weird, the way they were acting when they revealed to him that his wife had died in these attacks. That crying scene that he did just looked so bad. It was it looked horrible, and it just I just think typecasting was just all around. Even John Bernthal as the tough douchebag guy, he's like that in a million other things he
Was he wearing a wig, you think?
I don't know if he was wearing a wig or like a fake beard or something. I don't know.
He had,
But
like, He had like semi-long hair.
it could be him. There was one guy that was like Rami Malek's character, Charlie Heller, his co-worker, whom
the fat dude with the curls.
yeah, that guy always plays like an IT computer guy. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't that guy in The Office? I mean,
He
not
looks
Office,
like
the
him. He's
Office
like-
Space, not The Office, Office Space. Wasn't he
Well,
like
Nah, that movie was
the
30
OG
years
Office
old.
Space?
No,
That's
but
not him. There's a
he
guy
always-
that looks exactly like him in that movie.
yeah, there's always one. Yeah.
And like they just like these characters come out in like every other scene, and I'm just like, wow, these guys are playing the same characters they play in every other movie.
Lawrence Fishburne is definitely playing the same character. He plays in every movie.
It was just like crazy, and it was just like it was bad and not bad in a good way, because I enjoy like a bad cheesy movie sometimes. But I'm still gonna try to finish it. I'm gonna have to do it in parts because I just can't concentrate on this movie. But I am interested to see like when the movie kind of takes a turn and he starts visiting these like these other countries. There's a review that calls it the geeky version of the Bourne.
Jason Bourne. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the bad version. The highlight is there's a bad guy called Mishka Blazic, which I was like, that's the most gangster name you can have in Eastern Europe. I love that.
That's like, yeah,
Um,
that's the villain.
that was one of the villains. When I said John Bernthal was like accidentally walked onto set, I meant that like literally. There's a scene early in the film, which you probably saw, where he's like, hey, I need you to look at my computer. I'm gonna holler at you during lunch or after lunch. And then during
that
lunch,
was like
that was early.
Yeah.
And then during lunch, they see each other and they acknowledge each other, but then that's kind of it. They never speak again. At the very end of the movie, this guy is in Russia. Rami Malek's character is in Russia because he's about to go assassinate or go after the main bad guy. He's like in some tavern, and John Bernthal's character appears, and he's like, I'm here to bring you home. And Rami Malek's like, I'm not going home. And he's just like, okay, bye. And that's it. Like, he serves no other purpose in this movie. I was like, okay, he's going to kill him or try to kill him here. But no, he just walked away. We never saw him again.
He doesn't show up until the end of the movie again?
I don't think so, unless I missed something.
He's like described as like, I mean, his name is like second after Rami Malek in the credits, I think.
He's not in this
And
movie.
he shows up in like the first or second scene of the movie, you know, when they meet, when Charlie is walking to the
building,
headquarters, the CIA headquarters in Langley, and he like, you know, they bump into each other, like you said, in like the lobby. You're telling me he doesn't come out again until the end of the movie? Because they try to set him up like he's like a
yeah, they set him up like he's like the badass agent that, you know, he's just like
he's
a
like
tough
gonna
guy.
be involved in
I don't know nothing about computers, but you give me a gun, and you know, he's literally like that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he never shows up again.
wow.
It's one of those movies where like, so this guy flees the CIA. They're trying to, through Lawrence Fishburne's character, they're trying to like track him down. Obviously, CIA is always like 2 steps behind the whole movie, and so he doesn't have any physical skills. Like, he can't shoot any. He doesn't know how to shoot a firearm. He doesn't know how to fight. But he becomes like a bomb expert out of nowhere, and he just has bombs everywhere. Like, he'll put all a bomb out of a backpack, or he'll show up somewhere, plant the bomb, and then he's just seen is just over. Like, there's no like, where did he get the bomb material? How did he get to that place? How did he leave that place? A lot of stuff like that just makes no sense at all. Like, suddenly he's just like in a location, different part of the world. He's just there. New clothes, like new look, and he just has a backpack with passports, but he never like uses a passport because he's always underground. It's a weird, boring movie because it's not like an action flick, because he doesn't that's not what this is.
is it coherent at all? Like, does
Yeah,
the
somewhat.
plot and story stay continuous?
Yeah, the plot is very simple. It's basically like, I want to get the guy that killed my wife and his 3 henchmen. So he goes through the 3 henchmen until he reaches the final boss. Basically, that's the plot.
And they set that up super early and like basically put it on a platter and describe it to you, because Rami's character Charlie basically goes up to his bosses
yeah, exactly.
at the CIA headquarters and tells them, hey, I'm gonna kill the guys that killed my wife. And he shows them all this evidence and proof that he dug up by like going into their servers, that, you know, they themselves are responsible for this, and like for this like terrorist attack and all this stuff that happened. And like anybody would have been like silently assassinated or like made disappear on the spot. And he's like, I'm gonna go to the New York Post, to the New York Times and the Washington Post with this. And they're like laughing at him. They're like, you're not gonna kill anybody. You can't even fight a soaking wet nun or something, I think is the line they say.
Yeah, that's basically the plot.
It's
pretty literal.
How quickly did they break the news to him that his wife died? How quickly did that
Right
happen?
away, like within the first couple minutes of the movie.
Oh, okay.
And they not just that, but they pull him off of his job and show it to him like live as
They
it's
show the
happening.
live footage. And he's like, nah, that's not her. I don't believe you. And then they go to a close-up and it does like that zoom in, that digital zoom. And it's like, yeah, that's her with a gun to her head. And then he kills her. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is my wife.
Yeah, they're showing him like a breaking news like live stream and stuff.
Pulled out the Wolf Blitzer. He's in this movie. He's always in these movies.
I would be curious to now watch. See, now I'm going to make this a whole thing. I'll be curious to watch the original film to see how they played out announcing it to him, because they didn't have that whole technology thing of being able to zoom in on a tablet, all that type of crap. They couldn't do that. So,
yeah.
Be curious to see how they announced it to him based on what was the capabilities at that time.
You should watch that and let us know. I'm curious. But that basically drives the plot forward.
I will watch 20 minutes of each one and I'll compare it.
Okay. But that's it. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I don't recommend this movie at all. They also use the trope of like, he's like a smart hacker kind of dude. So in these movies, they just basically grant him superpowers, because it's just like, if someone has a cell phone, he just automatically taps into it. If there's cameras in a building, that he has like a whole 3D layout of the whole building, you know, just like this use of loosely using these technologies that people may not question, or because we don't understand how it works, but they really use it to their advantage. They actually take advantage of that, I think, a little too much. And, you know, they do the old earpiece thing like the Avengers do. Like everyone's always on an earpiece. So they're constantly talking to each other, even though one is flying at like 120 miles an hour. He's always talking to somebody on the earpiece. It's not good. So, yeah, I don't recommend it. Pedro, I don't even think it's worth finishing, to be honest. Like, there's way better stuff to do with your time. Play with your kid.
That's what led me to stop. That's what led me to stop, is like, man, this is... But it's currently has an 88% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes, so the viewers love it. And this is over 2,500 plus verified ratings, bro. 88% is like, you're basically in the 90s. That's a superb movie according to these ratings. 61% on the tomato meter, though. So the critics don't like it, but the viewers seem to really enjoy this for some reason.
I just double checked. I didn't want to miss
88, bro.
I just right now.
That's insane. This is an 88. Hold on. This is breaking news. This movie has an 88 rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
And
88.
It's number 1 right now in the top 15 today list on Hulu.
See, yeah, so either the bar is really low right now, or we've lost some brain cells collectively as an audience.
or everyone else disagrees with you, or everyone is excited to watch it on Hulu and they're watching it and it's getting the views, because who knows how much time you have to spend watching something for it to be triggered as number one.
But if this is so appealing to viewers, why didn't this fly back in April when it was released in movie theaters? Why wasn't there buzz about this movie? You know, like, I don't know, take like the movie Sinners, for example. That wasn't like a big major release when it first came out, but like word of mouth and buzz, like, and the fact that people, the viewers, everyone that saw it loved it, like pushed that movie, you know, to the sky.
Yeah.
Hulu gave it its wings.
No, but Hulu, number one, Hulu's a small platform, so when they get a movie like this, they'll promote it, right? And then people just watch it. But that does not speak to any kind of quality. So the 88% people who are like, I watched this movie on Hulu, I need to tell everybody how dope it is. That's what blows me away, because this movie's straight garbage. Like, there's some appeal, but it's very low bar.
They're promoting it on the top carousel.
Yeah, but you're talking about promotion. I'm not talking about how many people watch it. I'm talking about people who then love it. That's what I'm talking about.
And also how many
Oh, I
people
know.
just click
Yes.
on the first thing that's shown to them, you know, on the splash page. I know I don't. Like, yeah, it may take up like
you
half
kind
your
of
screen.
did. That's
but
why we're having this conversation.
no, I read. Yeah, I read it, and then but like, you know, most,
You did.
know, I want to say,
You did.
you know, something pops up on your splash page. You usually press the down arrow and see what else is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe 2025. Maybe attention spans are just got a little bit shorter.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I want to give a. Speaking of like being on the interface and just watching something, have you guys been on Max and you saw this movie called Opus?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Popped up
talking
for
about.
it popped up for me.
With Ayo Edebiri, I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Yeah.
The actress from The Bear, and John Malkovich. I watched it. I was like, let me watch it. It's an hour and a half, or it's just under 2 hours. This movie's complete trash. This movie is. It's the first 30 minutes are actually really interesting. So Opus is about like a 90s pop star played by John Malkovich, who comes out of retirement. He announces a new album. He's creating all this media, and he invites 6 guests to attend a listening party at his compound in Utah. And then things get weird. It's clearly a cult, but the plot just like makes no sense. It doesn't really go anywhere. The movie doesn't really have a strong point of view or any interesting scenes, and it's just horrible after those first 30 minutes. So avoid that. That's it. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I read it popped up for me. I read the description. The description just didn't get me for some reason, or like it was hard to understand what the movie was about by reading the just reading the splash page on it, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I like the actress. It's an A24 movie, so that I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. At least maybe the director did something cool with this. But nope, nobody. John Malkovich is kind of funny.
Not even John Malkovich could save that.
He couldn't save this. No. His character does tell like an interesting story at the beginning of when we first meet him. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it goes downhill super fast. I don't want to spend any more time on that. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Should we go into Trainwreck? And then I'll make a few recommendations.
We should.
I actually briefly I watched the premiere of the Billy Joel documentary that was on this past Friday, and part 2 premieres this upcoming Friday, and it's on HBO Max.
Me too. Yeah, well, I was saving that till the end just to recommend it because it's freaking awesome. It's really good, especially if you like Billy Joel's music, which I do. It's a phenomenal documentary. It's another banger HBO music documentaries. I recommend most of them. This one, yeah, I watched it too, Scott. I really enjoyed it. It's two-part series, 2 hours each, I guess. Shout out to his ex-wife Elizabeth, who put his career on the map in a way. She's like such a strong character in this, and deserves a ton of praise for just like as his manager. She took over his manager role early in his career when his career was kind of going nowhere, and made tons of just incredible decisions for him. And yeah, I think she's significantly responsible for his success, as well as he is himself, obviously. But yeah, anything stand out to you, Scott? Are you a Billy Joel fan?
Yes, I am. I would say if you are a lover or a fan of his music, you get to know what's behind the words of all of his songs just by getting to know his story, because the
Yeah,
first
it's true.
part focuses on his early 20s and 30s, and they interview a lot of well-known people, and they're going to interview a lot more well-known people, I believe, based on the trailer in the second part. There are parts that are a little slow, but stick with it because they cover a lot.
Yeah, the parts I would say are like the documentary. The format is interesting. It doesn't start from day one. It kind of ramps you up when he's already sort of in music and hitting the road, and then after a little bit, it goes back to his childhood and his parents and growing up in Long Island. That's when it slows down, but it's worth hanging around. Nas is in it. He gives a couple of interviews. He gives a couple of sound bites. Obviously, like Billy Joel was a big influence. Nas has a song called New York State of Mind after Billy Joel's song. And they have similar, I think they have similar storytelling styles, which is why I was not surprised to see Nas in the documentary talking about Billy Joel's music.
HBO music documentaries tend to be like really, really like thick and meaty and like
Really
thorough.
good.
Yeah, you gotta like really like sit through them, you know.
Check out Yacht Rock. Check out the Bee Gees documentary. Check out the Tina Turner documentary. They did that Dr. Dre documentary and Eminem years, like 10 years ago or so. That was huge.
They did a documentary on George Harrison, the Beatle George Harrison.
Yeah.
It was like a couple hours long, and that thing is like incredible. It's called Living in the Material World, George Harrison.
I have not seen that one. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it was co-produced and directed by Martin Scorsese, but it's like, I don't remember, but it took me a long time to finish it. It's like a couple hours long.
As an extension to that, it feels like, I don't know. I don't really know how far to present day the documentary about Billy Joel is going to go, but I did see that Billy Joel was interviewed by Bill Maher, which is over an hour plus interview. And I know a lot of the media outlets focus on it as a health update because Billy Joel currently has been diagnosed with a brain disorder. So I don't know where the story will stop as far as the documentary, but according to what it looks like on his podcast, they go in length of talking about the documentary, and I believe with talking about his current health condition.
Okay, check that out. Part 2 comes out July 25th on Friday. Highly recommend it. I want to recommend one more thing. I'll do so at the end. I want to get into this Trainwreck series. Trainwreck is a documentary series on Netflix. They cover sort of like these pop culture topics, like the ballooning,
Big pop culture moments.
Yeah. Which ones? The one that I wanted to see was the one about the Toronto mayor, because I remember that guy was insane. He was like a crack.
Yeah, I remember. I definitely remember that. That was like all over the internet.
Yeah. Which ones did you guys watch? Which episodes?
I watched Poop Cruise. I watched Balloon Boy, and I watched Astro World, and I started watching The Real Project X. I need to finish that one.
And you, Scott?
I watched Poop Cruise, and thankfully it was not all about the poop and more about the cruise. And I also watched Balloon Boy because I was more familiar about that storyline than the cruise.
Okay, yeah, I watched Balloon Boy, and then I watched the American Apparel documentary. These, the one thing I do like about these is they're like 45 to 55 minutes, so they're pretty short and sweet. But in watching these two documentaries, they're very different. Do you guys want to talk about Balloon Boy? I think Pedro, you mentioned you watched that one too, right?
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that story?
I think the Balloon Boy was I don't know if they interviewed what the other formats of the other, the American Apparel one, but in the Balloon Boy one, they've actually interviewed the family.
Yeah, that was great.
And I think that was probably one of the first times that we actually heard from the family.
What did you step back a little bit? I just want to know what you thought of it. Just more big picture without going into like the details yet.
Oh no, I was interruption. No, I liked that I was able to hear about the family, and it was more in depth of learning new things about it. I felt almost exclusive of finding out the background of what actually occurred, which I liked. And they intertwined all this footage of what actually happened, and you got a firsthand account about why they did what they did and how it played out for the most part. But I basically spent the time going, like, why did this situation reach this point based on impulsive decisions that were made by the family?
Because they were made by idiots. I thought this documentary was a complete waste of my time. And these are the type of people that we should not give any time of day to. And but people like to watch these kinds of folks on TV making themselves look foolish and so forth.
It was a little late for that because we already gave them too much airtime. So why not give them some more?
I didn't really remember this story. I vaguely remember the Balloon Boy thing. I think they said it was 2009. And
I don't remember it at all.
2009, I was probably like going out a lot and not watching a lot of TV. So maybe that's why this one didn't stay with me for so long. But I vaguely remember it. It also all seemed to happen in like a day, right? Like they went up, the balloon went up, it came down, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, and the next day they were like giving interviews to the press and the media, and it was a really crazy story that just like the media flew with, because they caught it happening live, like from the moment it started until the moment it ended. And I thought out of all the episodes I've watched in this Trainwreck series, this one was probably the most fun one to watch. In the fact that I feel like every like 2 or 3 minutes, me and the person I was watching it, we just kept saying, "Oh my God, oh my God!" Like the story just kept getting like crazier and crazier. And the fact that it is like a shorter format, not like over an hour, condensed like 30-40 minute, just like hits you like back to back to back with like as the story progresses like really fast, and you're just like, oh my God, and like we just found ourselves saying that.
To give a little bit of color on the story, it's basically this family and led by this dad who's kind of like a home inventor, engineer kind of guy. He invents this like saucer spaceship. It's basically a balloon, fills it with helium, and it goes up into the sky. And they think that one of the kids is accidentally in there, so the balloon is like in the sky now. And they call the media, they call the police. Eventually, the balloon comes down, and the kid is not there. He was in the house the whole time, and people speculate and ultimately realize that these guys put on a hoax basically just to get attention. And then there's some debate around that, whether they were being authentic or not. I pretty much thought they were just bullshitting the whole time because the dad does not seem like a reliable source for anything. But it created some entertainment in 2009 for about a week, maybe, when people were trying to figure out if this guy was full of shit or not.
You also saw and for the first time, I don't know if it was ever seen before, we saw a home video of the balloon going up, which...
Well, they released that publicly, though, at the time.
Well, I mean,
No, he's talking about the personal, like, home video of them, like, making it, like, the family, like, gathering around, launching it.
They were documenting the whole thing.
Yeah, they document a lot of stuff. And even currently, when we see them present day, or if that is present day, they're still documenting everything.
But I do like the way the story was presented, where they didn't give you everything right away. And because I wasn't familiar with the story, it was like I'm finding all these details out for the first time. You know, like you're as the story's going, as the episode's going, you're like, damn, is that kid actually in there? I mean, we just saw footage of the family's video, like panicking, and you know, the little brother, one of the two siblings, there were three brothers. One of them is screaming like, hey, you know, Falcon is in there. Falcon is the boy's name. He's in there. You guys weren't watching him. Like, you see the dad freaking out, the mom like freaking out, crying, and like, you know, you don't know what's next. And then like they show the footage of this thing like slowly descending, and like the police vehicles following it through like a field, and like the one like photojournalist, like cameraman that was there, running up to it, and like they're opening it and like it's just like process, and you're like, oh wait, there's nobody in there. They just told, the guy goes on live TV, live news broadcast saying, yeah, the boy's not in there. So then it turns into like a manhunt to see if they found the body, because somebody took a picture of the balloon and like something falling off the balloon, and people were speculating it was like, it could have been the little boy. He fell when it was like really high up in the air. And this thing went up to 10,000 feet in the air. That's like commercial flight height.
Yeah. But it was basically, I don't know how you guys feel. Yeah, the story's told in a linear way, so you kind of follow everything in sequence. But it seemed pretty clear to me that the whole thing was made up in an attempt to draw attention to themselves.
I didn't get that while I was watching it, but then after the thing lands, you know, and they say like, oh, this thing's been like the number one thing in the news for a day, people start digging up info online, and the first thing they find is that this family was in a reality show called Wife Swap, like a year or two or something before this incident. And that's when, like, me as a viewer, I start questioning, like, okay, that's a twist. Like, now I'm having doubts about the story that they're presenting to me.
Which I watched Wife Swap.
Yeah, you saw Mr. Heller or whatever his name is, Healy.
I was a watcher of that show.
There are a couple of clear tells that it was a bullshit story. One is the kid is hiding and not moving when they're like actively searching the house. It's like dozens of people searching the house, and the kid is like in this crawl space in the attic or somewhere, and he's like not coming out.
Supposedly sleeping.
Another one is the dad refusing to cooperate in the polygraph, like just being an absolute clown the whole time and refusing to cooperate. And ultimately they found it inconclusive. And then the mom kind of confesses that, yeah, it was bullshit. And then she's like, oh, me no speak English. It's like, and the officer was like, dude, she has like a degree in English. So it's like, and then I also think she downplayed her English skills during the actual interview for the documentary. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like such a bullshit story. And whatever, they got a little bit of fame, maybe, for, you know, a week or whatever. Hey, do you? But it just seems like such a desperate attempt to be seen to me. But
it worked. If they wanted,
I mean, they're all denying it to this day, and like the kid who's like a young adult now, you know, is claiming that what he said, because the first thing that happened when they went on like their first interview was on Larry King Live that same night, and the boy, the first thing they did was ask the boy a question and like about the incident, and he said, well, yeah, it's because they told me to hide and not say anything or something. And
for the show.
For the show. And everyone's like, oh my God, this kid just admitted it's a hoax and everything. But, you know, the kid to this day is saying like, hey, they misinterpreted what I said. That's not what I meant. They blew it out of proportion. He meant for the show that they were actually on live at the time. But
what the kid said doesn't matter. All that did was spark curiosity.
Oh, it didn't matter.
But what it led to was the polygraph test and the investigation. And then they found that they were lying.
Now,
Yeah, and then you have things like the polygraph test, and and the confession, and it's like, like, how can you still be claiming you're innocent when they pull you into this polygraph test and this guy's trying every trick in the book to like get it to not work?
one
Like,
important point is not, but they were on Larry King Live, but Larry King was not hosting. Guess who it was?
The homie Wolf.
Mr. Blitzer.
Yeah, I
At it
noticed that
again.
too. I noticed
And
that
that
too.
was before he was in the Situation Room. There was no Situation Room yet.
Yeah. Anyway, what about the other ones? Anything? I saw the American Apparel one.
how was that?
It's cool. It's cool. It took me back to a time when, right in the New York City subway, you see those ads everywhere, and all the girls dressing in the American Apparel stuff. But it basically focuses on the marketing, the hiring, the CEO, and then ultimately the sexual harassment lawsuits and the labor issues, and just a general toxic corporate culture. This guy was like, had a mansion in the LA Hills, and a lot of the staff were just like sleeping there. It was like a weird like sex thing. But it was interesting to see the company. It was a good insight into the CEO because there's a lot of footage and audio that people recorded during like company calls and things like that. So you got some insight into like how he operated as a boss. A lot of the marketing ideas were his, those like raw, edgy photography in the campaign. So it's cool.
So the thing that about this series is, at least with the 3 episodes I've seen, each story has like a completely different vibe to it. This one was kind of like an oh my god, thing. The poop cruise was, and we could talk about it more because I think we all saw that one, was like very lighthearted and just like, and like, oh my god, this is hilarious. Like, how the hell did something like this happen? And then like I watched one like the tragedy at the Astro World Music Festival, and like that was like super like tragic, and like the tone was completely different, and it was a really sad story, and it was like a real like just documentary about what happened and like who the people were that attended and the people that lost their lives. So it's capturing different pop culture moments.
It doesn't have like a coherent thread or
it's a little of everything, yeah.
Or like visual language, like any like common language throughout all of them. They're kind of really all like completely separate stories told in different ways by, I guess, different directors for each one. I stayed away from Poop Cruise. I was just like, I don't even want to. I remember that story too, and I was like, I don't want to go down this path.
Scott, your thoughts on Poop Cruise?
I was not too into it. I did not find it to be appetizing as far as
Use the interesting word appetizing.
Oh, you weren't eating dinner while watching this like I was?
No, I was actually on the elliptical, and it was sort of, I felt like there was some parts I wanted to just go past. There was too much about the poop.
It wasn't very good episode compared to the other ones I've seen. It's kind of like they took like a very tiny little story and stretched it out to like 40 minutes, the best they could.
They focused on a select few people who were very camera ready and very photogenic and very into talking about it. And obviously they used their footage, even though they were in a very smelly, very disgusting situation. They had the time of recording and documenting it. The last thing I would think about was recording what I was watching going on, because I would not have a reason or want to be able to look back and depict it again.
So that incident, I think, was about 10 years ago or maybe less. And it was
more
cruise.
recent.
It was what?
It was more recent than Balloon Boy.
Yes. but it was a cruise where they lost power to the I don't know, the sanitation, I guess, if that's the right word.
They lost power in the electrical room, and they eventually realized that all of the electrical lines in that room were completely burned and destroyed from the fire that occurred.
So nobody could flush it.
No one could
The
do anything.
toilets became an issue, right? No one could do anything, but the toilets became an issue.
That was the confusing part to me. Like, what does this electrical thing have to do with plumbing? And like, I was a little confused. I didn't really understand how it got to like the whole ship is overflowing with poop and the toilets aren't working.
It's because naturally there's some kind of water pressure. So the whole system is manufactured that they have to create that pressure via electricity.
It turned it into a giant porta potty, basically.
Yes.
You take a poop and the poop stays.
Right.
and then
the
someone
footage,
else poops on top of your poop.
There's
the cell phone footage of the people on board just showing like water creeping into their room with just like, you know, it's basically sewage water, just like up to their ankles, and it was gross. The footage was gross, and you could only imagine what the smell was. And they gave people like bags to poop into. And then to make things worse, this was supposed to be like a short cruise. It's like it took off from like Houston or something to like, I think it was Cozumel, Mexico. It's like from like one part of the Gulf to the other, short 2-day cruise, and then 1 day to go back or something. So you'd think like, oh man, something goes wrong. Okay, like by the next day they're gonna be safe, but the ship like ended up just stalling in the middle of the Gulf for I don't know how long. It was a couple days, to the point that people had to go up on deck and just camp out there, like set up sheets and sleep up there and live up there until the ship got moving. Worst part about this is apparently Carnival, the cruise line, was aware of issues with the ship and like I don't know if it was this one exact ship, but they had like a fire on a ship before that.
Oh, wow.
And they hadn't fully like addressed the issue somehow, and still decided to go through with this ship.
If you need more reasons not to ever take a cruise,
I know people live for that stuff, and like I personally know people that love going, like they go every year on cruises. I don't like the idea of being in the middle of an ocean and just not being able to escape if something bad happens.
Yeah, I'm a little
people love this stuff.
I'm a little agoraphobic, so I don't want to be in the middle of an ocean where I can't just peace out and I'm just stuck there. And then something horrific like this happens, and I'm gonna be freaking out.
Oh, you can peace out, but guess what? When you wake up, you're still in the middle of the bleeping ocean.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that at the end, they mentioned that ship is actually still in use today. They just changed the name.
They refurbished it and they changed the name.
Yeah, but you're writing on this.
Did they change the sheets?
Because these ships are huge. They're monstrous. They're super expensive to make.
Yeah,
they're not just gonna put it. They're not just gonna put it out of commission. They cleaned it up and changed the name and reused it. So, and they give you the name of the new one. So it's funny. Imagine, like if people are gonna, after watching this, if there's gonna be a decline in like people who buy tickets for this thing, knowing that ship was full of shit at some point.
Imagine being part of that cleaning.
Literally full of it.
Yeah, so this was basically Fire Festival on water.
On a boat. I think they had toilets. They just had like cheese sandwiches.
And no
was the buffet still open?
No, they couldn't use water to cook or anything. Like,
oh, so there's no food either.
The kitchen was out of commission. The poor like chef of the ship said he had to make ham and cheese sandwiches for 3,000 people.
They had no electricity. They couldn't boil anything because it was electric.
People were waiting online for hours to get the meals they were giving out, and when they got to the front of the line is when they realized that it was just a sandwich.
Oh,
a soggy sandwich.
I start fishing off the side of that boat or something. Yeah, tragic.
Oh man, yeah, you got to watch it. I mean, it gets crazy. They decided to have an open bar and just make it up to people and give everyone free alcohol, and that's when things got.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that
insane.
improved.
That's when
Yeah.
things got really rowdy and insane, and a lot of things went down.
Yeah. Okay. Check out Trainwreck Poop Cruise.
More episodes there. I think they're releasing 1 or 2 every week, so it's interesting. There's PI Moms coming on. I'm kind of interested in that one. So
Yeah, that one might be good. I'm definitely gonna watch the Toronto Mayor guy for the slapstick comedy. This guy was. I remember this guy just like walking straight into cameras. Like this guy was a buffoon.
This guy was unhinged.
he was a total clown. A lot of funny material from this guy, just from news footage and like speeches and things like that. He's I don't know what happened to him. He was also a crack addict, right? He was arrested for crack, trying to buy crack.
Yeah, that was what was driving this crazy behavior. Was he actually, not to make light of this situation, but he actually had a substance abuse problem with crack.
Yeah. Let me. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I just want to recommend. I saw a documentary that just kind of it's on Netflix. It just premiered July 14, I believe. It's called Apocalypse in the Tropics. This kind of just was not on my radar at all. I watched the trailer. I said I'm in, and I just watched the whole thing right then and there. It's a documentary that follows the growing influence of the evangelical movement in Brazilian politics, specifically during Bolsonaro's tenure as president. They have really a lot of access to not just Bolsonaro, but this far-right televangelist, Silas Malafaia. And they go into how evangelical this movement is really reaching people in Brazil and growing pretty fast. It's 30% of the population are evangelicals. And then just like a ton of parallels between what happened in Brazil and what's going on in this country. I didn't even know, like, after Bolsonaro lost that second election, like they stormed the Capitol too on January 8th of 2023. Like they did the same exact thing as January 6th. It was identical. Everything happening there is almost like a mirror. That's why I find it interesting, because it's kind of like a mirror. You know, I'm always interested in stories like this that are told not through a documentarian, but they just let the footage speak for itself in many ways. And the people speak for themselves. It's not like you're saying these people are doing this or they believe this. These people will tell you what they believe in and what they want to do. It's really powerful. It's really well done. It's on Netflix. It's called Apocalypse in the Tropics. It's in Portuguese, but I highly recommend.
That was on my radar when I saw it pop up this weekend, so I plan on checking it.
Yeah, check it out. It's really good. Anything else, guys? We'll do the Emmy noms next week. I actually went through the list. I don't have a lot of thoughts on those. It's pretty much everything you'd expect. But Scott, we'll cover that stuff next week if you want.
Oh man!
I know you're looking forward to it.
I was really hoping we'd get to it. We spent too much time on the stuff that we loved. There's just what we hated. Oh wait, I'm sorry. We spent a lot of time on what we didn't like versus what we did like. But if we're talking about stuff that I like, well, we can hit on the Emmys next time because we have plenty of time because the Emmys are not until September.
Yeah, and I want to do like a little game with the Emmys, just a few categories. But I did have one note. I do think Stephen Colbert is going to win an Emmy for his late night series now that he's getting pretty much disappeared off network television. But that's it. We'll leave the show there. Like and subscribe. Hit us up in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.